Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're looking at something way bigger than just casually throwing a couple of solar panels on an RV roof. We're diving deep into the actual engineering behind a massive 48-volt, 10-kilowatt dual MPPT solar architecture. We're going to get into the exact math that makes a truly scalable system actually work. But first, I want you to think about a question our source material poses. Why do so many of these massive solar systems just completely fail on the very first cold day of winter? You can have a setup that looks absolutely picture perfect during a summer install, but the second those temperatures drop, bam, things go wrong. Let's look at how doing the right calculations up front helps you avoid catastrophic system shutdowns or, worse, completely fried charge controllers. Here's our quick agenda for today's breakdown. First, building a 10K watt system. Second, the core solar math. Third, the cold weather danger. Fourth, why choose dual MPPT? And finally, crucial safety checkpoints. All right, let's jump straight into section 1, building a 10kW system. Okay, so 10 kilowatts. That is a massive amount of solar power. We're talking about the kind of architecture you need for serious off-grid installations or heavy-duty workshops. Our source really hammers home that at this scale, your standard rules of thumb just don't cut it anymore. They're actually dangerous. You have to rely on exact engineering formulas to manage this much energy safely. So here are the target goals for this build. We are looking at a 48-volt battery bank paired with that massive 10-kilowatt solar array. And to effectively manage all that incoming juice, we're designing a dual MPPT architecture, meaning 2 maximum power point tracking charge controllers. To put all of this together without blowing anything up, we really need to look at the underlying math. Which brings us to section 2, the core solar math. Looking at the visual comparison here, we've got 2 unbreakable laws of physics side by side. When you wire your solar panels in series, their voltages add together, but the current stays exactly the same. On the flip side, if you wire those strings in parallel, the current adds together, but the voltage stays constant. Charge controllers have very strict limits for both of these, so these 2 rules literally dictate how your strings have to be sized. And really, the whole thing anchors on this one incredibly simple formula. Power equals voltage multiplied by current. P equals V times I. This is exactly how you calculate the total power of your solar array. It's kind of like a puzzle. If you know 2 of these values, you can always find the third. Now, when we rearrange that exact same formula, we get this. Charging current equals power divided by voltage. Why is this so absolutely critical? Because a massive 10-kilowatt array is going to push a proportionally massive charging current right into a 48-volt battery. Every single piece of your system, the controllers, the batteries, your cables, they all absolutely must be able to handle this massive flow of current. Honestly, ignoring this specific calculation is one of the most common and destructive design errors out there. Let's move on to section 3, the cold weather danger. So, what actually happens to your array on a freezing winter morning? A lot of installers will size their solar strings using standard data for a nice sunny summer day. But as our source points out, doing that leaves a massive hidden danger just waiting for the temperature to drop. The real culprit here is Voc, or open circuit voltage. That's the voltage of a solar panel when it isn't connected to a load. And the crucial detail to remember is that as the temperature drops, a solar panel's voltage actually rises, and it can rise significantly above its rated levels. So sizing your series strings using only those standard summer Voc values, that is a total recipe for disaster on a cold winter morning. Because of that temperature spike, this specific mathematical check is literally a system-saving maneuver. Your cold weather VOC must absolutely remain strictly less than your MPPT's maximum input voltage. You have to verify this every single time. If you fail to account for that cold weather voltage rise, your system is going to experience MPPT overvoltage shutdowns, you'll probably fry your controllers, and yeah, you will instantly void your warranties. No thanks. And, the math risks just cascade from there. Miscalculate and you end up with oversized charging currents that suddenly trigger your battery management system protections. You might overlook the need for string fuses, which risks massive reverse current damage. You could literally melt your undersized DC cables or cause controller clipping, where a huge chunk of your energy harvest is just permanently lost. All right, section 4, why choose dual MPPT? Rather than trying to force a 10-kilowatt array through one single bottleneck, we divide it. We split it between 2 independent MPPT charge controllers. And the benefits here are huge. First off, you get a higher overall solar capacity. You will also achieve significantly better shading tolerance because each controller optimizes its own specific set of strings. You get independent array optimization, and crucially, this is the big one, you reduce the stress and the heat load on each individual controller. It just creates a much more robust system overall. Now, notice the scales here, because this dispels a really common myth. The paper assumption is that two controllers will just automatically split the solar power equally, right? 50-50. But the real-world reality is that your array orientation, shifting shading throughout the day, and differing string voltages create highly unequal loads. Each controller independently optimizes its own strings. They do not magically share the load perfectly, and your wiring and sizing math absolutely has to account for this reality. Finally, we arrive at Section 5, Crucial Safety Checkpoints. Our source provides this definitive 4-step checklist to ensure total operational safety. Step 1. Verify that your cold weather VOC remains well below the controller's maximum limits. Step 2. Verify the controller's charging current can actually handle the load. Step 3. Check that your battery and your BMS can safely absorb all that incoming charging current. And Step 4. Properly size every single conductor and fuse to protect against faults. If all 4 of these checks pass, you're good to go. Your design is solid. To wrap things up, our source leaves us with this incredible thought. Confidence is what separates engineering from guesswork. Understanding these limits means you are totally empowered to build safe, scalable systems. So, what's the biggest solar array you've ever considered designing? And more importantly, after today, are you confident your math will hold up on the absolutely coldest day of the year? Let that sink in. Thanks for exploring with us, and we'll catch you on the next explainer.